Good morning, 910. I hope it hasn't been too rough for you to wake up this morning. I am going to be reading to you from Joshua. It's a book in your Old Testament. It's towards the beginning, and we're going to be reading from chapter 4. But I just wanted to give you some insight from chapter 3 right before it, especially as this weekend Austin was talking about the Ark of the Covenant and all of the specifications and the way that the Lord specifically said how to build it and then how to transport it. And in this particular section in Joshua 3, they are carrying the Ark of the Covenant on these posts, and it's after Moses has died, and now his successor Joshua is leading the Israelites into the promised land. And in order to get there, they have to pass over this giant rushing river. And similar to how the Lord split the Red Sea for the Israelites when they left Egypt, God has another instruction for how he's going to have them do that this time. And so they take the Ark of the Covenant and they take these 12 leaders and they go ahead and they put God first and they cross the Jordan, and it's amazing. And they basically have to wait for over 1.5 million of the Hebrew people to pass through it before God brings the water back in. But they pass through dry land. And then when they get to the other side, this is the part that I really wanted to camp on. All of chapter 4 is about these memorial stones. And if you've ever heard someone talk about a stone of remembrance, this is what they're talking about. This is where God went before them. God gave them instructions and they followed them. And they had to give up some things in order to cross this particular river. Or who knows what it means for you to have to give up something and to let God have his way in a situation. Well, this is what they did, and as soon as they cross over it, it says in chapter 4, verse 1, after the entire nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord spoke to Joshua, choose 12 men from the people, 1 man for each tribe, and command them, take 12 stones from this place in the middle of the Jordan where the priests are standing, so where it's dry, where there's usually water. Carry them with you and set them down at the place where you spend the night. And so they go through and they wind up setting up 12 stones in the middle of this valley that they're in. But they're in 2 places here it tells them that they're putting them there as a sign so that when their children ask them what they're there for, they can explain and they can tell their children, this is what God did. And so the very last verse of chapter 4, in verse 24, it says, this is what you're telling your children. And finally, this is so that all the people of the earth may know that the Lord's hand is mighty, and so that you may always fear the Lord your God. A stone of remembrance. Do you have something in your mind that whenever you see it, it reminds you of the work God has done for you? It reminds you that it's worth it to be faithful and to have God go before you. Do you have friends who know your story, who can remind you when you don't remember? That's my encouragement for you today, guys, is to really think on what has God done? And what do you have to remember that? Because there are going to come times when we don't remember. When I look to the sky, my stone of remembrance for sure is a hawk. And I have my whole own story just for that. But that's my stone. That's my reminder. So today, as you go out onto your campuses, as you engage and have friends and build community, I would just encourage you guys to build a wall with the stones that you have so that you are remembering God wherever you are and what he has done for you. Have a great day, guys.